Get that paper, told that Glock, that's how we live. Yeah, my life's a game, I pray I don't get killed. They can't believe I got the guap, this shit for real. Can't accept the fact my brother gone, I wanna kill. Yeah, I can't go for that shit don't sit right. Instead of capping to the old nigga, I know what you live like. Ain't worried about all, just fuck these hoes and live life. I go on the drill, I'm smart enough, you gotta know how to kill.
England being outstanding within the world of football, as many prodigies have emerged to reshape their own history from this place. However, one stood above all the rest as the number 2 in the world. However, even though Chris Prince knew he would become second to Noel Noah for a while, he had other plans in store to try and surpass him. Returning from a long crusade of away games to his home, he's welcomed by his wife. She hugs him and then says that their son has been glued to the TV ever since that he had left, not missing a single one of his father's matches at all. Isagi was seen sitting down, holding his own football, as his eyes would light up further. Chris Prince then puts a hand on his head. "My number 1 fan, huh?" Isagi was shocked and turned around, hugging his father. "You're back already?" "Yeah, I am. Have you been practicing?" "Of course I have." "Well, since I have a day off tomorrow, how about we head to the field for some early morning training?" Isagi nods as he says he's going to win this time. The next morning, the two head out onto the field, where Isagi put on his cleats and began warming up. After doing so, his father passed him the ball and told him to go at him. "With everything you've got, Isagi, don't hold back at all." Isagi nods, dribbling ahead. While guarding his son, Chris thinks to himself, his speed and stamina have improved greatly since the last time. Isagi then cuts one way with his father following. Not only that, but it seems that he's gotten more sharper with his techniques. His son then chops the ball with the back heel of his foot, getting himself more open. What the? I'm impressed. But this kid, well, the game's in here, son. Chris turns his whole body and then gets back in front of Isagi, only for him to awaken in this moment. His desire to win would fully manifest itself here, with him reaching the ball first, and now rainbowing it over his father's head. Chris Prince was truly taken back by this, as Isagi tried to make it past his father, only to be running into his back as he had turned around. It felt as if he was in front of a brick wall. Just what was this? Chris Prince then took the ball and scored, looking back at his son, who slammed his fist upon the ground. Damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it. I'll have to do better next time. I can't keep losing. There's no way I can become a pro like this. Later on, when at brunch with his wife, Chris states that Isagi has improved so much so in the last couple of months, with his wife stating that Isagi is very determined to one day play alongside him. Chris couldn't even believe that, but in that moment, he could remember it, seeing it within his son. If Isagi could channel that creativity and that mindset while actually playing in a real match of football, he could become a dangerous pro player. However, he needs much more training, causing his father to come to a decision right now. From this moment on, he will train Isagi to become the world's next number 1. 3 years have gone by, and the Isagi we see is completely different from the child with high hopes of playing with his father. Instead, we see a well-rounded striker who was the captain of his club team. This was unheard of because Isagi was only 12 years old, playing on the 15U squad of Manshine's youth team. Beginning their season off with a big match against their rival squad, the coach would state that he expects a lot from them, but no matter what happens, don't stop fighting at all. Since their club is directly related to one of England's biggest clubs, they'll be scrutinized for anything they do wrong. So the coach reminds them not to focus on anything else but what's right in front of them. "Isagi, I expect you to lead the team well here." The young player nods and lifts his fist into the air, telling his team he won't allow them to lose. "Lend me your strength, just one more time." Stepping onto the field together, Isagi looks to the sky and raises his hand, closing his fist, as it was sort of his own pre-game ritual. With this being the opening match of the season, Isagi shows that he isn't just talk. Playing perfectly with his team, the players revolve around him and make sure that they move the ball well. Isagi as the captain improves their communication and their attack power. Ripping through the midfield, Isagi looks ahead of himself. What now? Their defense is closing in on me. Isagi then focuses further and cuts in one direction and dashes to the opposite side, losing his defenders. He yells for the cross and jumps to meet the ball, heading it into the goal. With the first goal being a statement, many more had followed. It was as if the 15U squad was so well-rounded with many incredible players. But what's actually shocking is that Isagi wasn't the only player who was younger than many others. Another boy, just a little older than Isagi, named Agi was here as well. And he was the one who had passed the ball to begin their first goal of the season. This declaration of a match was just the beginning though. Having an incredible winning record with only a few losses and ties. Throughout the season, Isagi had many trials that tested his will as a player, with their losses shaping his mind and improving the way he trained. Isagi's real problem now was that he was a lot smaller than his opponents, especially the defenders. So he needed to find an advantage that he could have over them. That's when he began to discover a way to see the path to goal, leading to Isagi unlocking his own unique form of the Predator Eye. Yet, with his version, he's still able to get a sense of other players around him due to his own instincts. Many times, he tried to emulate his father's techniques and playstyle, but it never worked for him. No matter how hard he tried, he just couldn't be the hero of the match that many needed. So maybe that wasn't his style of play. But maybe there was something else he could do. Still determined to find his own, he had to do so quickly. With his team now entering England's tournament excursion, or ETE, they now had to prepare themselves for even more. With a month of time to prepare is when Isagi's father returned home for a week to help train his son. Going to the pitch, he had noticed that Isagi had gotten much taller, but Chris sits down. "Tell me something, Isagi." The air would then shift around his father as he becomes serious in this moment. "Is this tournament truly important to you? Or is it just another match that you intend to goof off within?" Feeling the intense aura of his father, Isagi almost choked on his words. I think it's going to be career defining for me." "Good. I'm glad you understand that. Now, defend me." Isagi gets ready, but his father is just too far ahead of him in terms of skill, and their difference in strength felt immeasurable. Falling to the ground, Isagi looked towards his father. "I want you to remember this, Isagi. You aren't special because you are my son. You are special because of your own individual talent. But never forget that you aren't the only young talented player within the world of football. If you slack off for even just an hour or just a simple moment, the other prodigies hidden within the world will overtake you in an instant. Keep growing for the sake of your own desires, not mine, not anyone else's." Isagi doesn't even get to respond as he just prepares himself. This week with his father was hell. They didn't even touch a football after today. Instead, it was just strength and stamina training. Chris understood that the football part was already within the boy. He just needed to nurture his body to keep up with his mind. It was strange to him though. Isagi tried to play like him, yet their mindsets were completely different. While on one of their jogs, he questions Isagi if he wishes to play alongside him one day still, with his son nodding while smiling. "I thought as much. If that's truly your goal, you'll need to give up on that playstyle of yours. Right now." Isagi then stops for a moment, wondering what he meant, and his father continued. "If you wish to reach me on the world stage and play with the masterclass of strikers, you can't continue to play like me. It will only lead you down a path that you won't be able to escape from. Instead, you must cater your style to yourself. That's the only way you'll truly evolve." "But How can I do that, father? It's up to you to figure that out here within this tournament. Isagi nods, and eventually his father leaves. With only 3 weeks left to prepare, he needs to discover his own playstyle. His father stated it for a reason, and he also stated that they were opposites in many ways, so maybe he should rely on that. Isagi, determined to figure out what it was, continued on. Skipping to the day of the first match, we actually see him sitting on the bench here for the first few minutes of the game. This was strange, as no captain had ever come off the bench before for this team. 10 minutes go by before Isagi was seen stepping onto the pitch. He closed his eyes for a brief moment, telling himself to live in the moment, do what feels natural to him and his own instincts. Isagi instantly receives the ball, looking for what's right in front of him. Already, he had analyzed the field and takes off, dribbling around defenders and then dropping the ball off. His father was currently off on a plane while also watching this match. Smiling to himself, he could already see the improvement within his son. He began to move more calculated and strategic, but he still had his own version of his father's chaos and creativity. Leading to his team having their first victory, Isagi was ecstatic about his new playstyle. It somehow fit him so well, and he was so confused how he had never thought of it before by himself. The tournament goes on how you would expect it to go, as this duo of an awakened Isagi alongside Agi was incredible. And thanks to Isagi's new style of play, Agi was able to get him more goals, which in turn led to the domination of these two. Since Isagi's father was known as the Prince of England, the people would also give his son a nickname after winning this tournament. The people in the media of England soon began to draw inspiration from the Knights of the Round Table, with them beginning to call him the final Knight of the Round Table, Sir Isagi. With Isagi soon becoming an even greater rising star within England, we can skip to more of the important bits of this story. A now 15-year-old Isagi was seen rushing down the field with Agi by his side, whipping around defenders to receive an incredible pinpoint pass on his left side, using it in an instant to flick over the next defender that was guarding him. To fake a shot, on the next he would smile. Finally, I'm back in range. Take this! Releasing the ball into the net. For the win, Isagi yells in excitement as his team surrounds him, congratulating him, and he thanks Agi for the pass as always. We also get to see that on his arm was a captain band here as well, so even though he was still the youngest on the team, he was critical for their success and their teamwork. Moving on, a couple of months flash by before they would even know it, and Blue Lock takes the world by storm. And since Chris Prince was asked to be a master of the next upcoming phase, he gets a Manshine team assembled, and he keeps Isagi and Agi on it. It had been over 6 months since Isagi had seen his father in person, but they embrace each other like always. It's good to see you, Isagi. You as well, Agi. The two nodded, and asked where the rest of the team was, as his father explained that the strikers from Blue Lock will be picking their environments, so they will see them tomorrow. He actually needs Isagi's help for tomorrow's introduction, so he tells him to get some sleep. The next day, when the strikers are introduced to Chris Prince, it seems that they don't believe him as much. So, out walks the current team, and Isagi was leading them. Since you all lack the resolve as of now, I want you to try and beat my son in anything of your choice. Out from the crowd, Rayo says no one is better at trapping and 1v1s than Nagi. Chris smirks and tells the group to follow him then. Walking out to the pitch, he grabs a ball and tells the two to go head to head in the box. Chris Prince tosses it into the air, and the first to jump is Nagi, with Rayo telling them that Nagi is their key to victory, so just watch. This is when Agi, who was sitting downside. You egoists truly know nothing about the son of the world's number 2. This is when they watched as Isagi jumped even higher than Nagi at the perfect moment, trapping the ball and bringing it down. Nagi then prepares himself for a 1v1, looking at his opponent's feet. Just what will he do? This is when the ball blasted by his face and into the goal. Agi then continues, while they stand in awe. He's England's final warrior. His father is a prince, while he is the last remaining knight of his round table. Chigiri then remembers hearing the rumors of Isagi, as he's known as their own invincible warrior, a knight that can overcome any obstacle in front of him for his team. Chris then invites them to train in order to involve their bodies. Their first couple of days of training, everyone is confused as they would rarely see Isagi. This caused many to question their master, and Chris explains, "My son is more gifted than me, in the sense of his body and his mind are stronger naturally. It seems the gods do have favoritism in this world. In fact, my son, from the moment he started, was a prodigy, but he always tries to be like me. I had to correct him some years ago, as I told him to play like himself. That's when he truly became the last knight. However, the reason you don't see him as much is because he is the opposite of you all. As you work to train your bodies to fit what's within your mind, he works to train his mind to keep up with his body and his instincts. His understanding of himself and his actions lack at times, so he came up with a plan to undergo a transformation within himself in an instant. If you wish to view it, you can come with me. The ones who go are Reo, Chigiri, and Nagi. Walking into a separate room to see holograms standing around and recreating game speed movements, with Isagi at the center of it all, sweating. The ball isn't passed to him, but he lets it go, shocking them, as it would roll over to someone else, and he continues the holograms over and over again, until he eventually traps it, taking a shot on goal and curving it into the net with no dribbles at all. It then happens again, and this time he takes a straight shot. Isagi doesn't use a single dribble for what feels like an hour. Chris then tells them that this will be a rare occurrence for them, so pay attention. He rips his shirt off and walks into the room. How about a father-son duel? Isagi welcomes the challenge, and the ball drops from the ceiling, with Chris getting to it first. He spins around Isagi, but he steps back, keeping his hands out, and making sure that he's staying a good distance away from his father. This is when Chris tries to use his body, but Isagi vanishes, throwing him off balance just a little bit. And this is when the ball is also stolen by him. Not bad at all, son, but this is where it really counts. Can the world depend on their knight to rise to the occasion this time? Isagi takes a deep breath and tells his father that a knight will always duel for his honor. Entering a state of flow willingly, Isagi's aura flares up. Instead of his usual, smoky flow or chaotic rampage, it's almost as if he was at peace. Isagi's own flow here, within this timeline, is represented by an armor that guards his body close. Isagi only takes one step and goes in for a shot, saying to himself, "Holy spear!" Ripping through the air and heading towards the keeper, just barely missing the top right corner. Chris looked back at his son and laughs a little bit. That's enough for today. Maybe next time. He walks out of the room and the others walk in, calling him incredible, but Isagi shrugs it off, being aggravated to say the least. I lost. The moment I took that shot, I lost. My father wanted that to happen, for me to reveal my trump card in a moment of need, and to add on all of it, not only did I reveal it, I missed the shot. He really is one step ahead of me. But once I can defeat him, I'm heading for the world's #1 to take him on. Isagi asked them what their goal was as of now, and they would state to become Japan's #1 striker, and Isagi nods, looking to Nagi. Do you actually enjoy playing football? Nagi was shocked by this, as Isagi got up and told them that he's going to shower. With this being brought to his attention, Nagi had his own inner awakening beginning to happen, but we still are far from his pivotal change. Moving on to the minutes before the very first match, Manshine greets their opponents, with their masters sitting near each other. Chris Prince comments how his son will be facing off against Noel Noah's prodigy, a battle for the generation of strikers. He asks Noel Noah to put all his thoughts aside to believe who he thinks will actually be the winner of this epic battle. With the number one striker actually puzzled for a moment, he says Kaiser, due to his age and experience on the field, and the fact that Germany's lineup is structured around him for success. Noel Noah then returns the question, wondering if the father truly believes his son to be ready for this great challenge. Chris Prince sits back, stating that the knight his son has become will be tested here. If he is truly ready to challenge me, then he will emerge with victory and a new blade to aid him in his next battle. Evolution here will be critical for everyone, so just who will reach it first? The kickoff happens, and Germany leads a full-scale attack on England's defense. With the lineup working around Kaiser, he moves through the field with grace and precision. Ness was running up the field as well, and calculated his next pass, only for the ball to be stolen when it was coming his way. Just how the hell did he see the ball coming to me? Ness looks at the jersey number to see the 11 on Isagi's back and wonders just who he really is. Dribbling ahead, Isagi jukes the defender and drops the ball off to Chigiri, with the Red Panther taking this game by storm with his speed. This is when a cross to the middle happens. Isagi is the one to receive it, only for Michael Kaiser with his metavision to appear on his back. I'll throw him off balance while he's mid-air, and steal the ball within the chaos. He presses against him, only for Isagi to not move at all. Wait a minute. Isagi then volleys the ball with a scissor kick and it goes right into the net. The hell is he made out of? Steel? And what was crazy? That trick shot just now. Since when could he do something like that with this much pressure on him? Kaiser pushes his hair up with a sinister smile. Looks like you live up to your name, Isagi. England's final knight. I'll rip that armor right off of you and make you bow down to a true emperor, not a king nor a prince. Isagi turns to him and tells Kaiser to bring his all, because if he doesn't, he'll be the one to take over this match. Upon the next play, Germany gets going and has their own plan of attack. With them now knowing that England has a very one-on-one center defense, they plan to break it down with quick passes, which works wonderfully until they have their passing lanes blocked. Rayo then appears near Kaiser, using his chameleon style to copy Aiku. This one is all mine. Heading the ball back out towards Agi. Nice one, Rayo. Ness was the one here just in case, but Agi 1-2 passes with another midfielder, destroying Ness and getting around him. Damn it, they're seeing right through us. Relying on their defenders, Germany knows they need to get a stop here and truly counter, or this match may be lost. But what happens here is that Nagi is able to get his first goal of this match, with Kaiser being angry at himself for being picked apart like this. This shocked many, as he wasn't one to fall apart, and it didn't help that Agi was teasing him constantly. Now there was just one goal in front of them so that they could have a victory. So what would the Emperor do? With the game resuming, Isagi man-marks Kaiser. If you are truly God's chosen Emperor, I'd like you to know something. Kaiser then traps the ball and begins dribbling to try and lose our hero, but nothing works, so Isagi continues to taunt him. Remember that the gods that chose you are false, and the one who gifted me my own strength is one like no other. Isagi bodies Kaiser off the ball and then goes to drop it off to Rayo, allowing himself to be immersed within the game and its flow. Isagi then predicts the path of the passes around him, learning just where they would lead up, right to Seishiro Nagi. I should have expected as much. I'll have to do something about that, won't I? Isagi then continues to sprint ahead. As Ryo gets a curved pass towards his own striker, Isagi would take that pass immediately, but not before Nagi and Kaiser surround him. With Ness on the incoming as well, it seems that this will be a 3-on-1. Isagi's armor then returned, and he spun around them to avoid Ness and Nagi, making it a 1-on-1 again. Kaiser watches his feet and his eyes. However, Isagi stared right into his soul. What the hell? He isn't even watching the goal or the other players around him. Just watch your game. Isagi tells them that this has been fun, but he's over it as of now. But since he managed to keep up and follow him for so long, he'll actually show them a glimpse of it. Using his royal spear, it rips through the air and into the net within a second, as this seals the match, 3-0. Manshine's players then surround him celebrating, but Nagi and Kaiser are angry as ever, not knowing how to deal with this type of overwhelming loss. This is when Chris Prince stands up. You know, Cyborg, there was something that brain of yours can't calculate, and that's the reason you lost today. Noah would look at him curiously. When planning to defend my son, you may be led on to believe that he's like me, chaotic and reckless. However, from this match, you can already see it. He plays more like you, a true striker who was gifted by the spark of football to become amazing like no other. I'll let you and your team get over this loss, as we will meet again on the field one day for a true battle. Chris Prince waves at Noah, and his bench follows him as they leave the stadium. Agi and Isagi celebrate together as they always do, and now plan to continue to grow and evolve. However, when Isagi makes it back to his room, his father was already inside. You were sloppy in your final shot. Take a look and become better within your next game. Isagi is given even more film to study as his father opens the door and leaves. But I'm proud of you, son. As always. He would close the door and leaves Isagi alone. With the first game out of the way, Isagi's rank instantly goes up after defeating Michael Kaiser and taking his spot at the number 1. However, Isagi didn't care about that. In his mind, this was a false list, as he was still far behind each one of the masters within Blue Lock. With Julian Loki appearing on the screen, Isagi knew he was close to him. But just how could he defeat Loki alongside Charles? This is when Agi appeared to him in his mind, so he'd go to get him. He tells Agi if he can keep Charles occupied or at bay while he focuses on Rin or Shido, depending on which one was in the game, this should bait Loki out. And then it's just a matter of adapting to his instantaneous speed, which still is going to be a problem for them, but they can definitely figure it out. Isagi begins training and prepping, and soon the time arrives for them to play against them. PXG decides to start with Shido within the game, so it makes it easier for Isagi. Shido would tell him that he plans to vanquish the Hero Knight and destroy his kingdom. Isagi tells them to bring it on, as history will only repeat itself, with the Knight claiming victory. With PXG starting with the ball, it seems chaotic in their style, and it fits right around Shido. Fast lightning passes with insane precision and crazy rotations up the field. This threw Manshine off instantly, because how could they defend something that wasn't predictable at all? Within the climax of their attack, Shido ramped up, getting ready for a cross, and as the final pass landed towards Charles for the setup, Agi appeared, just as I foresaw. This is when he looks up, revealing that Agi has his own unique form of metavision as well. Charles complains that he took away his special spectacular super assist, but Agi ignores him, focusing on the play at hand. It seems that he had leveled up as well. Linking up with Rayo, the two would complement each other perfectly. PXG had an incredible defense though, that forced Agi to take control, looking for his final pass. Isagi turned his body, but Nagi was here as well, causing defenders to crash in. With them being surrounded, Isagi pushes off the chest of Nagi to dash into open space. Agi doesn't even hesitate, sending it his way. With the ball spinning to keep up with Isagi, he focused on his path. There's no need to trap it from this distance, right, Agi? Because that's not what you envisioned at all. Isagi then volleys it, putting a curve on the ball as well to send it into the back of the net for the first goal of this match, which was truly epic as those around the world are in awe of it. Agi and Isagi high-five, realizing they had a connection like no other on the field. Yo, Agi, I want another one. You got it. Their enormous presence on the field got the attention of fans all over the world as Isagi began to be a figure for Blue Lock. Loki liked this, and he subbed in Rin and a few others that would support him, like Nanase and Karasu. Rin claims that he'll destroy the number 2's son, but Isagi tells him he's still far behind his brother. An aggravated Rin kicks off the match and runs ahead without the ball, allowing those behind him to support his off-ball movements. Rin is able to get into a good spot, but both Agi and Reo are copying the defense of Aiku to stop him, turning the game in their favor once again and heading up the field. PXG scrambles to stop the play at hand, but it becomes a duel of speed between Chigiri and Zantetsu, who, under the training of Loki, outclassed our red-headed speedster. Still, what's shocking is that Isagi cuts right in front of him, making Zantetsu think back to the moment that he and Chigiri began sprinting up the field, meaning that this whole time, from his blind side, Isagi was keeping up with him. What the hell? And who is this guy? There's no way he could be keeping up with us. At this rate, he might even rival the speed? No, Loki is still far ahead of him. With him in thought, the ball is taken away, and with his knightly aura and flow emerging once again, all of you will fall to my crusade to victory. Rin is able to still make it back just in time to challenge Isagi, but is getting broken down at every attempt to stop him, leading to him slowly falling into his demonic flow state of focus. His tongue then sticks out of his mouth, and Rin's eyes are fixated on Isagi. This is what he wanted. A true 1v1 for the next goal. He completely zones out to this very play of the game. And now, Isagi looked at him, telling him, I've spent my entire life competing against my father just like this. Before Rin could even move, the ball was seen rolling against the net, with Isagi's royal spear scoring once again. So don't ever think you'll get the same treatment as my father, the Prince of England. With the score now being 2-0, Loki stands up, unzipping his jacket. Well, I believe it's time I enter to help cause another young explosion to happen. He turns to Chris Prince, but the older striker waves him off. I'll wait until your team begins to excite me. Loki shrugs him off, subbing out Zantetsu, and he moves into the lineup. Stepping onto the field, he puts his hands on the heads of Rin and Charles. Lend me your strength, just once more for our victory, reminding Isagi of something he's told his teammates before. Charles is ecstatic, but Rin was still completely focused. Loki, seeing this, gives him some advice. That's it. Don't stop. Completely throw away everything else around you that isn't this moment. Show your true ego and stop holding yourself back. PXG kicks off the ball shortly after, with Charles being their main playmaker, stringing along passes within the midfield to give his team a fighting chance. He crosses it all the way into open space. Instantly, Loki appears there, shocking everyone, scoring here to show why he is a masterclass striker. He turns to Manshine, demanding that they prepare themselves. This is when we see Isagi's POV to notice the manner in which Loki had just sprinted. He takes off, very similar to that of a track runner who's trying to maximize their acceleration with his first steps and then continuing to keep his head down. But there's also something else that seems to be another key factor to that instantaneous speed. Isagi focuses on his physique, stating that all of his legs, or the muscles within his legs, are maintained perfectly to get the most amazing stride when hitting his top speed. This is what makes Loki the true god sprinter on the field. Isagi, with all of this information, has to think of something quick within his mind. He walks over to Agi, setting up his plan, and lets it go into action. Quickly, they realize that PXG has set their own trap within the midfield, not allowing Manshine and their players to get by at all. Isagi himself was being man-marked by Loki, who wasn't letting him out of sight. The thing about that shot of yours is you need distance to use it. With me here, you have to find another way to score, and I won't let you get the chance to volley it. Isagi laughs, but the ball is stolen by Charles and sent to him, who demolishes Manshine's defense to score his own goal, tying the game. Chris Prince then sits up, and many ask if he was going to sub into the game, but he had a flashback to a training session with his son, where Isagi states that he's going to figure out how to beat PXG all on his own and take down Loki, allowing himself to truly be seen as a masterclass player. Trusting his son, he wonders just what he had planned, and we go back onto the field to see Isagi dropping the ball off and is pressed by Loki again. I expected as much. It seems you have no cards left, and this match is over, Isagi. This is when our hero smirked. I've actually got 3. Running back into the midfield, he switches places with Ryo, who sends the ball up to Nagi as he runs up. This duo now has their own flow state showing, respectively. Let's go, Nagi. Right, Ryo. Loki, seeing this, bursted back with speed to help his team stop this play. But before he could get back, Ryo and Nagi ran through PXG's defense, with their chemistry being on a completely different level here, leading to a short 2v2 battle between Nagi and Ryo against Ren and Charles. With Nagi escaping, Ryo sends the ball to him. This last pass is just what Nagi needed. This goal was all his within his mind. However, Loki appeared, deflecting it at the last minute, and with it bouncing out before being trapped by Agi again. He says, "Checkmate," and instantly sends it into open space across the field, with the ball seeming like it was floating forever, with no one even around it. Suddenly, while everyone soon began to see it, it's like Isagi appeared with an intense focus on his face, breaking out into another goal with a flashpoint shot. Isagi roared in excitement over his victory. This is when the play would be broken down by Chris Prince, while those around the world began to celebrate this goal. The only reason that this was possible is because everyone else was focused on the awakening of Ryo and Nagi. But I was watching my own son. Who could blame me? You see, once Loki was focused on Nagi and Ryo himself, this freed up Agi, and this allowed them to put their plan in motion. It seemed that Isagi was going to slow his pace down and then fully accelerate at the last moment to create this shot, this flashpoint of a shot. And it could only be possible due to the pass from Agi, as this wasn't just a normal pass. It was almost as if he shot the ball at Isagi with his own knuckleball, as it was unpredictable to where it would land. But I guess that's just luck, with it landing in the right place at the right time. Agi's perception of the ball's direction seems to be advanced as well. Chris then puts his hands over his face while smiling. Incredible, he says to himself before standing up. Isagi was celebrating this goal, and Loki was aggravated. The son of Chris Prince sure is interesting. Just when I thought he was a more logical player, he shows that he still has the tendencies of mere chaos like his father. Well played indeed, Isagi. From here on out, the NEL is dominated by Manshine and their teammates, with Agi and Isagi taking over, as there's no real challenge left in their way. And this did conclude Blue Lock's own project and its current phase, with Isagi not wanting to even return if they did continue it. Instead, he returned to his home in England, being moved up with Agi to the true Manshine's adult team, along with his father, and many more challenges would lay ahead of them. And that's where our story ends today. I hope you all made it to this point and enjoyed Isagi's development here as a striker. I wanted him to have more of a different approach to his dominance, but still keeps a little bit of the same characteristics like his father. Being raised as the number 2 son would have many benefits for Isagi, as you could tell here. And if you want to see more or enjoy this story, please consider subscribing and liking this video. As my name is Zero, and I'll catch you all on the next one.